This is an entire brand that I created only using ChatGPT. That means no Adobe, no Figma, no fancy drawing tablet, only ChatGPT. And honestly, I made this whole thing in about 2 hours from start to finish. Why? Well, that's because graphic design is the 11th most declining job in the world. That's as of 2025. So let's try a little harder next year, guys. Come on, we can do better. We can make that top 10 list. I'm serious, guys. AI is going to take over our jobs, so we need to figure this out. I just want to take a look at ChatGPT. I want to use it. I want to show you what it's capable of in this video. We're going to test it out, and I'm going to show you step by step how I created this brand, and it wasn't too hard, and I can see why this might be taking over. So this is ChatGPT. This is what it looks like. It's a very simple interface. It just says, what can I help with? And you type in what you need, and it has a conversation back and forth with you. If you've used it in the past, you may have been disappointed because it has been bad in the past. It has gotten a lot better, but especially for images, it used to make people with like 6 hands and the text was completely unreadable, just like random jargon. It looks like Egyptian hieroglyphics. So yeah, it's been pretty bad in the past, but that's not really the case anymore. It's rapidly improved, and that's kind of what I want to show you. To start this off, I had an idea. I wanted it to help me create a brand for a totally imaginary company. So the company I made up in my head is a better crayon. I love crayons. I love drawing with crayons, but the problem is they are so bad. They just snap right in half and they're chalky. They don't feel good when you draw. What I like is this. I've had these all my life. These are oil pastels, okay? And if you've been in art class before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. These things don't snap in half unless you are really trying to. They smoothly glide like butter. You can just draw anything you want, and you can mix the colors, and they're just so fun to play with, and they make such good little designs. And they're like crayons, but they're everything that crayons should be. I wanted to help ChatGPT help me create a Crayola competitor, but secretly they're actually just oil pastels. So I typed in everything I kind of just told you into ChatGPT, and I asked it to generate a design brief. That's always step 1 when I'm working with a client, is to generate a design, not generate, but create a design brief, kind of get an idea of their target audience and what they're looking for and their stylistic preferences. And I just hit enter, and this thing started going. Look at all of this it's spitting out. This is really where ChatGPT excels, is doing stuff like this. Within an instant, we have our target audience. We have key product differentiators. It's doing the tone and personality. It's researching our competitors. And now at the end of this, it's guiding me, and it's saying, would you like to move next into naming, brand voice, or visual direction? So just like that, I can see how my job just got taken over by AI, because I'm officially the client here. I'm not even leading this thing. So I let it lead me a little bit. I decided to talk names with it. It spit out this first name, Glide. I really like that. Oh, lights just turned off. Okay, nobody freak out. It's gonna be okay. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, I like the name Glide. That kind of speaks to everything that I really care about here. It's all about the texture. It's not chalky. It just glides like butter. And I feel like that's a big part of the experience. So in my own human brain, I decided maybe we call them gliders instead of crayons, because it should be plural. So each one is a glider. It's a pack of gliders. I added that R and the S to the end there. That was my human contribution. But so far, ChatGPT is killing it. Then we went back and forth. You can see it kind of came up with visual identity inspiration here, brand voice direction, tagline options. And we went back and forth for a while on the strategic kind of company things, our key selling points. Oh, we also came up with a mascot. This was pretty big. This was pretty cool. Since they're gliders, we decided to go with like a plane mascot, which, you know, kids like aviation. It's true. Kids do like planes. We went back and forth here for a while on strategy of the company. I felt like we were in a really good spot. These are our core selling points for gliders versus ordinary crayons. They're going to be buttery smooth glide. Just saying that. Just buttery smooth crayons. I can't even think of a Crayola crayon being buttery smooth. They're so bad. Bold, vibrant colors. Yeah, crayons are very earth tones, which honestly I personally like, but for a better crayon. I felt like they should be more vibrant colors, really rich in the pigments. And then the last selling point is they're durable. They're built to last. They don't snap in half and then you just go buy another 25-cent box of crayons. You get to actually use gliders for a long time. Like I said, I've had these oil pastels for a very, very long time. And sure, I don't do oil pastels every day of my life, but I cannot tell you that I've had a crayon box for 10 years. I'm already getting feisty with Crayola right now, and these aren't even real. Anyways, the next thing I do in any logo or brand identity process is moodboard. I started going through Pinterest and just pulling screenshots of images I liked. So here's a couple. I like this kind of mascot design. I like this one too. I like the crayon scratches on here, the vector with a lot of hand drawn. I love the typography there, very hand drawn, and vector, colorful, hand drawn, vector, colorful, hand drawn, vector. I threw in Harold in the purple crayon there too. You get the point. I pulled these together. I felt like I've got a pretty good style here. What I did with ChatGPT is I took all of the ones that I just showed you and I just dumped them into the chat. So you can dump whatever you want, kind of the more data the better. And I threw all of these pictures into my chat and asked it to kind of make a mood board with me. I wanted it to collaborate in the mood boarding process. And it did not quite meet my expectations. But it did do something very interesting. So it pulled up these pictures, and these are actual pictures. You can see in the corner it says free pick, and there it's Pop Art Studio. It's pulling off pictures from the internet. It's showing them to me. There's 53 freaking photos, and it compiled its own mood board of what it thinks that we should do for the brand. I didn't like this style. I don't think it picked great pictures. They're very cartoonish. Clip art. It looks like clip art. Look how many there are. Jeez Louise. I told it, forget about all of those. Just go back to what we had talked about. Look at the pictures I gave you. And then let's create just a mood board. Let's create one new picture that just represents the style that we're going for. And it generated this. This is one of the problems with ChatGPT, I will say. Just sitting here and watching it print out like a printer from the freaking 1950s. You know there's no chance that it's actually generating it like this. Look, you can see it right there. It's just messing with me. Like, it totally knows what this entire picture already looks like. I swear they're slowing it down on purpose so I don't generate like 2,000 pictures at one time. All that aside, this looks fantastic. This is so cool. I've never even really seen something like this before. A mood board for my crayons, gliders, and it's got like our little mascot that we talked about at the top. It's got these scribbly elements. It's got the mascot and character style from my inspiration picture. It's got the scribble and texture, and again it recreated my inspiration. It's got the typography I like, the colors that I like, and the scribbles. It's actually a really cool like custom made mood board thing that we got going on here. I think it's so cool. So we moved on. We were in agreement of what this brand should look like. So we went back and forth on the different types of logos, different types of fonts, and just talked about strategy for a second. And it made a couple of concepts. Okay, I like some of this, I don't like some of this. If you look in the top left, like, we're definitely having some weird generation problems here. That doesn't look quite right. His eyes and his mouth. This looks like Bucky's. So I'm gonna steer away from that. And then this one was all right, but this one right here really stuck with me. Right here where the gliders had some movement towards it and it felt very unified. I liked that a lot. So I kind of asked it to recreate that. And this is another sort of problem with ChatGPT. It doesn't quite create images in the same way every time. I can ask it to make the same gliders logo and it will get it pretty close, but it's going to be different. Our plain guy, he looks a lot more simplified here. And I couldn't even tell you what it is specifically, but it's just the illustration style changed. So I asked it to make it more retro again. I liked how it was before, and it was able to pull that off. And this looked really good to me, but this like bullet, I don't even know what the heck that's supposed to be. To me, it looks like a missile, and that's kind of cool, but I think it's a little aggressive for my crayon company. And boom, this is our final gliders logo mascot combination. I really like it because we've got the gliders text, which can be used separately, and we've got the mascot. And also I asked it to make a transparent image and it did that perfectly fine. So I've got a perfect transparent logo that I can use. And now it's asking me, you want to move on to packaging? And I was kind of like, well, hold your horses. Like, I'm not sure I'm ready for packaging yet. I said if we could create a few like typography designs next, just so we could have more brand assets to work with. Plus, it already knows like my brand voice and the copy. We had already discussed all of that. And this is where my next issue kind of came up. The next big problem that I had when going through this process is I said, you know, I've got like these different slogans. Can you make a poster for each of those? And it did that, but only in the same image, and that actually looks great. Like, I love this buttery smooth glide little poster here. I think that looks so cool, but like this image literally cuts off right here and right here. Like that is the full picture. So what I discovered is ChatGPT cannot output multiple photos at one time. I told it, please just make them one at a time, and I'll tell you if I approve of it, and then we can proceed to the next one. And that seemed to be a really good prompt that I could use throughout this entire process. I liked this one a lot. Contrary to what I'm saying about it not being able to create stuff, it's clearly getting close, because with this, I was like, this is really good. I just wish the word color had more color in it. And then it created almost an identical image where it just changed the color. And of course it made that green, but I liked that too. So clearly the capability is getting there. And then we even generated a couple of brand assets like graphics and textures. It was pretty creative, and I like some of this a lot. I like the little airmail, I like the locations and the dots, and all of this stuff is very on brand. Like, it seems like it's using the same sort of illustration style when it's making everything, which is really cool. At this point, I was really enjoying ChatGPT. I really liked it. It is very easy to talk to. It's literally like you're just talking to an assistant or something. And the point is, again, it's artificial intelligence. It's supposed to replicate what it's like talking to a human, and that's gotten a lot better too, which is both scary but pleasant at the same time. I decided it was time to move on to product packaging. Here was the first product. I wasn't initially happy with it, but again, that's where this thing is nice. It's kind of a nice back and forth conversation, because it was like, I like some of this stuff. We talked about doing 26 crayons because there's 24 crayons in a crayon box, and I wanted to give a little bit more for maybe the same price. And then we also talked about a sticker sheet, totally ChatGPT's idea. I like the idea a lot. We're definitely doing a sticker sheet if this was real, which is, it's not. But my biggest problem was like, this looks just nothing like an actual product packaging that you would see. I gave it some instruction to add like a flap and a window and stuff, and it made this, but this is an illustration. So I asked it one more time, come on, can you do this? I found myself asking it, can you do this one more time? A lot. And now this got a lot better. I like how it had the sticker sheet on the side. Like, this looks actually very realistic, like it could be a real product. I didn't personally love it. It looked a little too much like a crayon box, and I wanted to be different. So I went back and forth a lot on the product photography. This was good, but this makes them look ginormously tall. Our next one is good. This is where you start to see the typos coming in. Here it says like guiding crayons instead of gliding. It says sticker sheet without an I. S6 instead of 26 gliding crayons. Starting to not look so good. And then it started getting progressively worse. Like, gliding makes no sense. Our mascot doesn't look anything like, his eyes are insane. I don't know what that melting, I don't even know what to call that thing. That looks, it looks, I'm not even going to comment on that. I went back to the top when I first asked for it, and you can edit your prompt. Even if you've already sent it, you can go back in time and re-edit it. And I re-edited that, and I was like, let's start this over. You use the white scribble texture that we generated together as a background for the box, make a photorealistic mock-up. And that worked. Here's what it spit out. It looks really good. It's got the sticker sheet. All the text is correct. It's got our mascot, and he looks really good. And it's got the white scribble texture in the background. I decided to save this. I wasn't in love with it. Honestly, at the end of the day, I didn't like that there were two planes that seemed redundant and repetitive. There's like a little dot right here. Like, I'm not sure I like this. The color is spelt wrong. It's spelt with an F, Kalaf. I did like the mail stamp that it put in there, but I kind of settled. This thing has a lot of capability, and then it's also got limitations right now. This was the back, and then we moved on to like an inside flap that opens up when you open the product, and that looked really cool as well. At this point, my computer decided to switch to dark mode. Then I ran into my next issue with ChatGPT, which was it said I've hit a short rate limit and need to wait about 2 minutes before generating your next image. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, this thing is not going to notify me when it's time. And then I was like, hey, are you ready? And it was like, yeah, I'm ready. So after that, though, I didn't hit any more rate limits. I was expecting maybe to hit that problem again, but I was able to generate a ton more images, and I never had that problem again. After generating the product packaging, we decided to move on and create some images of kids using the product. And these pictures are pretty good. I mean, I don't think I would have told you that this was AI generated. Only problem I really had is that we spent all that time on product packaging, and it created like 3 totally different boxes for each one of these pictures, and none of them were the box that we had settled on. Moving on with our fully fleshed brand for gliders, we decided to make some merch. I wanted to do like streetwear style. Kind of went back and forth for a while, but then we got this sucker, and I was like, this is so cool. I would totally wear this hoodie. I think it started to pick up like what I was going for. We made this corduroy hat, which looked really cool. The Wordmark logo here is very accurate to what we've made previously. We made some joggers. I love these too. I'm like halfway tempted to actually put these on some merch and put them on the Grayson's Graphics store and buy them for myself. We made some sneakers, some glider sneakers, which could totally be their own separate product. And then I asked it to make like, what would a website homepage look like? It generated this image, and then I was like, can you just make a website? And it did. It's coding away, and it's just making a freaking whole website for me. And eventually we got this website, which is a real working website that I could upload to the internet and people could use. ChatGPT also had the idea to generate a bunch of crazy looking circles that float around, which are kind of my style, but I didn't tell it that. So I'm very proud of it for just generating that. They look insane. I feel like this is good, chat. I feel like we got something. What would you do, chat? Would you do anything else to top this off? And it was like, let's come up with a brand manifesto, the real story behind gliders. And I was like, are you sure? And he was like, yes. The gliders manifesto. For the kids who color loud, we're not here for the quiet ones. We're not here for the broken crayons in the bottom of the tin. We're not here for the soft pastels, the hush tones, or the same 8 colors everybody's been using since 1903. We're here for the bold. We're here for the buttery smooth glide. For the scribblers, the doodlers, the comic book creators, and the future tattoo artists. For kids who use the whole page and then ask for more. Gliders don't snap. Gliders don't fade. Gliders don't quit. They scream color. They pour pigment. They feel like art, but they act like crayons. We don't sell nostalgia. We sell now. We sell what happens when you hand a better crayon to a louder, weirder, braver kid. So go ahead, color outside every line. Glide or die. And I was like, holy crap. But that's kind of sick. I like it. I like it a lot. It really unleashed what it was holding back there. This brand has become a little crazy. So I asked it to mock that up on a social media post so we could put it on the Gliders Instagram page. And it did that as well. Man. Before I tell you what I think about this, I kind of forgot to introduce myself. Briefly, just real quick, my name's Grayson. This is Grayson's Graphics. This is a show where we talk about design. All types of videos just like this one, so hit subscribe if you like this. Here's my thoughts on this. Right now, today, it is not realistic to use ChatGPT as your primary and sole design tool. It is not replacing Adobe Illustrator or whatever the heck software you use, but it is quite capable, a lot more capable than it used to be, and really, really helpful. Its realistic use cases are brainstorming and the strategy and helping you reply to emails when you get stuck, helping you come up with ideas, logo concepts, but maybe not actually relying on this to generate the logo that you're going to use. It's really really smart. Graphic design, maybe it is the 11th most declining job in the world, or maybe that's just a news headline. But I think what's really happening is graphic design is evolving. It's changing. This to me feels like when Photoshop came around, even though I wasn't alive for that, quite frankly. But I imagine it probably went very similar to this. I've talked to my dad before. He was in design, and I was like, how did you do it before Photoshop? It's how everybody does it now. Like, I can't imagine making a poster without Photoshop. And he kind of showed me like some of his steps, and then how the iMac there came out and how it changed things. A lot of it was very handmade and put together before the digital era. And this feels like that. This feels like we're repeating that cycle in history where Photoshop is very manual. Adobe Illustrator is very manual. You have to know how to do these things. And now ChatGPT is very automatic. And I imagine it probably felt the same way back then. What scares people is how accessible this is. Anybody could go on to ChatGPT and do what I've done and come up with their own logo. But the difference between you and me and any designer and some average Joe who's going and using this thing to come up with their logo is not skill level. It's how creative you are, and it's how you communicate. It's the way you use it. Yes, anybody can go do this now, but that doesn't mean that they are a creative. That doesn't mean that they're a designer, and it doesn't mean that they're a creative director or an art director. And that's really, I feel like, where graphic design is evolving to. Us becoming more of the communication, the creative direction, and being like, okay, what does this client need? And now we're going to use the best tools to get them what they need. And ChatGPT is one of those tools. AI in general, it might not be ChatGPT in 5 years, but whatever AI tool develops out of this for design is what we're going to be using. This train isn't stopping. We're not going in reverse. That's clear as day. There is no reason to, quite frankly. This thing is good and it's helpful, and we need to learn how to use it and how to embrace it and how to be creative directors to help with logo design or to help with whatever the heck you're using your graphic design skills for right now. And if you want to learn how to use ChatGPT or how to communicate to clients or even just design composition principles, you might want to check out Skillshare. Skillshare sponsored this video, which I'm very grateful for, and I've actually been using it, and it's pretty neat. I've been using it for this MKBHD course. He's a YouTuber, really cool videos on tech products. My biggest thing that I've noticed is I always thought Skillshare was a lot more work, and it's actually been very palatable. I've done a couple of classes on this thing since joining, and like a lot of these lessons, this one I just got into, but it's only an hour long, and it's broken up into 11 lessons. So it's very manageable to get through an hour in 11 lessons. You could sit down and do that all in one time, or you could break it apart and then you kind of retain the information better. There's a variety of categories, whether it's graphic design or maybe it's photography, music, cooking, whatever you're looking for, Skillshare probably has a class on it. They do have this course on ChatGPT for creatives, which I think is pretty cool. And then they've got a course, you're starting a creative business from scratch. They've got thousands of classes and they're pretty neat. So if you like it, I've got a floating QR code that's just going to float around me for the next like 10 seconds or so. So the first 500 people who scan or click this QR code or the link in the description get a 1 month free trial of Skillshare. So really nothing to lose. I would totally check it out. It's actually really cool. So yeah, scan or click that. Only 500 people get it. So you better go scan it quick, guys. To wrap all this up, I just want to say, you know, I think this is the new normal. This is the future, and we've got to embrace it. So let me know. I mean, tell me in the comments if you think I'm wrong there, and if you've used ChatGPT for graphic design, or if you will now after seeing this video, and your thoughts on its capabilities. And if you like this video, you might like this video where I use Adobe's generative fill, which is their AI tool. I used it 1,000 times to see what would happen, and let's just say it was interesting. So that's right here if you want to click on that one.